Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another coffee rant with Dano and Frank, our Patriot Bald Eagle. Guys, this one's really been bugging me. So the other day we talked about a recall from Costco. 80,000 pounds, nearly 80,000 pounds of butter is on recall because it didn't have contains milk next to the product label. Now, assuming that it still says dairy on the back of the ingredients, and I've done no real research into this other than what we talked about the other day. Okay, but what I did find out, because I did do a little bit of research, because it was driving me crazy. I was like, and everybody was talking about it. And, I try to keep it professional. And I understand that, everybody has allergies, or not everybody, but some people do. And, if you have a milk allergy, well, then you should probably check the butter to make sure there's dairy. Okay, or if it doesn't say it on there, then if I was lactose intolerant or had a allergen to milk, then I would do a little bit of research to find out if said butter had milk in it. Now, people who are lactose intolerant or have milk issues or allergens, then you probably already know what kind of margarine or whatever, you may use. There's all kinds of different options these days for some kind of butter per se, or whatever you'd like to call it, that doesn't have dairy in it. So apparently what I found out is that you do have to have, the FDA requires you to have the product name, and right next to that has to have one, if it's one of the major 8. There's 8 allergens that are considered major allergens. Okay, let's see if I can remember, because I forgot to write them down. Let's see, milk, soy, like soybeans, wheat, fish, crustacean shellfish, which my brother is actually allergic to. Let's see, number 6, of course, now I can't remember. Well, there's 3 more. Okay, let me know down in the comments, or we'll talk about it later on. My computer's down, so I'll tell you guys. I just most of you guys know that I have an allergen to coconut. Coconut has done me wrong in the past. I have had some products that have had coconut in it over the years that I did not know, and it did not affect me. Like when Body Armor first started coming out, I was drinking that like crazy, and I was working outside, it was hot, Body Armor's really good. Never affected me. Come to find out later, it's coconut water. So, I don't know, that's just me. It never seemed to affect me, but when I was younger, it did. Maybe it doesn't as much now as it did when I was younger, but I don't take that chance. And I could probably go get like an allergen test and stuff, and doctor could probably find out, if it's what level, if any more I'm allergic to. So I do understand, that it's good to put a major allergen on there. One thing that coconut's not a major allergen. That's never put on things. And, I know we've talked about this before, probably a lot more than I need to. But, Walmart had a mislabel on their Great Value cashews, honey roasted cashews, that ended up being coconut cashews. Now, that is long past and everything like that. But, yeah, if that label wasn't on there, then that could have really been bad. Hopefully not, but it could have been. And, it's another reason why I'm glad we check on these things. But I feel like butter, I felt silly talking about this. And I think even Costco and all these other, it's like, I just hate to see things get wasted. One thing me and Jessica never do is we never waste things. We reuse things. We use things in different meals if we have to. We do not waste. And 80,000 pounds of butter seems like a huge waste. Now, I'm not one to say, and maybe they're just doing this so that they avoid a lawsuit or something like that. I mean, I'm sure that's the case. But it just, when you see something like that, it's like, well, I feel like most people who are allergic to butter know that they're allergic to butter. And I guess the point that I'm trying to bring across in this is that if I ate something that had coconut in it, right? And I didn't know it, if it wasn't clearly on the label, on the front of the label, which it never is. It's always on the back. It's always on the back in the ingredients. I feel like that should be enough, just me. I mean, if you have an allergen, then you should be paying it. Honestly, guys, we should be paying attention to all the ingredients in food anyway. People always talk about it in the comments, and I completely agree. People have asked if I could, when we do the store videos, if I could read through ingredients. Guys, we just don't have the time to do that. If you guys want to leave things in the comments, if you have any food allergens and you notice these things that people aren't catching up on, please, by all means, leave it in the comments. Let us know. Let us, here's another thing. Let us know what food allergens you have. Is anybody on our channel here, anybody watching this right now, are you allergic to dairy? And if you are allergic to dairy, would you think by buying Kirkland brand butter, would you have any reason to believe that that does not contain dairy? And if it does, or if if it says it on the back, if it reads it on the back, well, then you've read through it. I don't feel like it needs to be like extremely advertised. Okay, now there may be other reasons that I'm not thinking about. Maybe people, they're just, maybe people just aren't reading things these days and they want it up front and center. This contains milk, and I don't know. And I'm not going to use the term, I'm not going to use the term I was going to say, people are not bright, I mean, if you have a known allergen and you're not paying attention to those things, I mean, I've had to read things with coconut my whole life. If it has coconut in it, I stay away from it. Now, when I was younger, yeah, I made some mistakes. I didn't pay attention to some of these things. I didn't think that a drink, because I drank a lot of Gatorade as well when I was younger, a drink like Body Armor, I didn't even think that it would contain coconut milk. So just putting that out there too, that it is easily missed, and yeah, I wasn't smart for not paying attention to the ingredients. It wasn't until much later that I found out that it did have coconut water in it, and then I was curious if I was still even allergic to coconut. And at that, I have not been to a doctor for an allergen test for coconut, so I've just stayed away from it. I've paid attention to all the ingredients nowadays, and it's something we need to do. We need to make sure we're paying attention to these things. So if you do have an allergen, but I don't know, it's something that's been bugging me because I'm reading through your guys' comments on all this the other day, and I'm like, yeah, this is ridiculous. I mean, I felt silly for even talking about it, and I'm seeing all these different articles on it now, and it's basically saying the same thing I am. Just people don't know that butter has milk in it, and I know there's all different kinds of butters, things that call themselves butters these days, and that's probably part of the reason. Part of the reason is because there's so many different varieties these days that they want to make sure that they're very clear that this contains dairy. So, I don't know. Peanuts is a big allergen. Tree nuts. Oh, yeah, tree nuts and peanuts. Those are two other ones. So that's 6 and 7. So there's one more. Oh, it's kind of been floating in the back of my head here. Let's see if I can figure it out. Let's take a sip of this coffee. That might help. Oh, been nursing this coffee all day here. Me and Jess been doing a lot of work around our home. Jessica is working like an elf, putting up all these Christmas decorations. Yes, we've gotten a lot of comments if we were going to show our different village or, the difference. It's a little bit of a different setup this year. Jess has done a really good job putting all this stuff together. I think it's gorgeous. She just got the office tree up here, but it's not lit up yet. So we're going to do it all in one video, but probably be another week or two before we do that. But guys, yeah, I just, with all these different recalls and everything going on, out of all the ones that I've read, out of all the ones that I've seen, this one seems the most silly. Now, seems the most silly. Prove me wrong. Let me know down in the comments, anything that you can think of that maybe this is a good thing that they're recalling 80,000 pounds of butter. It's a lot of extra work from cows that, are going to get wasted. Kind of like all this different meat and everything that constantly gets wasted. It's... I don't know. I mean, yeah, if there's a recall on it, we have to, like I said, I have to stay professional about it, and I'm not gonna dumb it down except for this butter recall because I feel like this is a huge waste. Let me know down in the comments if you agree. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.